Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the playoff game between South Africa and the Australians. Whoever wins this game will finish ninth on the Sevens circuit for Vancouver, but there are still a lot of legs left and there is plenty of time to find some improvement. South Africa, they'll be heavily disappointed to have missed out on the round of 8. Same with Australia, who have been actually second place in the last 2 legs of the Sevens. And this one, the best that they can finish is 9th, but that is if they pull off the win here up against the strong Blitzboks team. In the Blitzboks starting lineup, it will be Ryan Oosterhuizen, Shilton van Wyk, also Sylvan Davids, David Benjamin Brits, Roscoe Speckman, Impi Fisa does move into the starting side, and Justin Gerald gets the start for South Africa as well. In the starting lineup for Australia, a little bit of a different lineup to what we have seen in some of their prior games. It will be Tim Clements, Matthew Gonzalez, Nick Maloof, Henry Patterson, Nathan Lawson, James Turner, and also Dietrich Roach. Hi, all, and Hamish says, Robert, welcome in, and the Lol King is in the chat as well. But do let me know who you think will win this game, ladies and gentlemen. I believe, while I know that South Africa come in as favourites, Australia just haven't really performed throughout the Sevens circuit, though. So I'd like to think that they've got something in their tank that they are yet to show. They almost beat the USA, who are currently in the semi-final, going head-to-head with Argentina. They are the biggest underdog of the 5 games that we are covering on the channel in the near future. Of course, a little bit later on, we will also have the match taking place for the bronze, and then the final there as well. But currently, the match between Japan and Ireland is taking place in the women's side of the draw. There are 7 seconds remaining, and then straight after that game, we are into this one between South Africa and Australia. But Australia, they did not make it out of the group. Same with South Africa, but South Africa pulling off the win up against New Zealand throughout their group stage games. Ireland kicked the ball into touch, and they have finished 9th in the women's side of the draw. Japan do finish 10th, and at this point of the competition, every little extra point that you can get in the overall standings is a massive bonus. South Africa, they haven't really made it through to too many finals as of late. I thought that their form was actually a lot stronger than it is. But I'd like to think maybe this game will give them a little bit of confidence. LA is next week. They don't have to wait a month and a half like we did see in some of the other leagues of the Sevens. You're pretty much straight back into the action. Same time zone, relatively similar temperature as well. But South Africa, they are currently ranked 5th on the circuit compared to Australia, who after getting a few runner-up medals have found themselves sitting in 3rd overall. The 2 sides just making their way out of the tunnel, ready to go for the second men's match of the day. Earlier on, we did get to see the 11th place playoff game in action. They are just showing the captain, Nick Maloof, ready to go with his Aussie side. They haven't actually gone with a few of the other men who have started some of the other matches, Sargent being one. Also, they have decided to give Dietrich Roach the start. Seems to be a little bit more of a rarity as of late, but I believe that is because they are trying to work out exactly who the best combination is that they can go with as we head towards the Olympic. Roscoe Speckman, though, huge amount of experience for the Blitzboks. It's been going pretty decently throughout this competition as well. The referee in charge of this one will be Francisco Gonzalez, 127th match in charge. Just about to get underway. It looks like South Africa will have the kickoff going from right to left. Whoever starts this match better, I would say, will get themselves the win in this contest. 9th place, what is the point? Embarrassing, sort yourselves out, Blitzboks. Says Ethan, yeah, they started so well. They beat New Zealand in their opening game. They then went on to lose to Great Britain as well as Ireland. And then, even though they had more points than another side in 3rd place in another pool, due to the way that the rules are, it means that the best 2 3rd-place teams go through. So South Africa missing out in that regard, but it is kicked off long by Sylvan Davids, and we are now underway. In fact, he's kicked that one off extremely long, only about 5 metres out from their line now with there's Matt Gonzalez already. South Africa hustling in the breakdown. Loose ball sets up on Shilton van Wyk, and it will be Impi Fisa to score the first try. Great kickoff from Sylvan Davids, and South Africa straight away put the Aussies under pressure, who have had a lackluster tournament so far in Vancouver. And these were the 2 teams beaten by or who were the other two teams beaten by these teams, says coding. So, I mean, South Africa beat Spain, I believe it was. And Australia beat Canada, or I think it's vice versa the other way around. But yeah, Canada and Spain, the two sides defeated for these two sides to make it to this stage. Now, Blitzboks, the lineup that kicked there, Selwyn Davids has got it over in a minute into this contest already. South Africa are 7-0 ahead. Dream start to the match for the Blitzies. Now, Australia, they have to try and fire straight back. They cannot afford to let the Blitzboks do the same thing. Looks like Selwyn Davids going to go for that kickoff, gone high. Did rush it though. It means that it hasn't gone the 10 metres. Australia on the halfway line now will be able to go for the quick tap. Can't celebrate this. Less than a consolation. This need to work at themselves. Ask, are they worthy of wearing those jerseys? Says Ethan. Like, to be fair as well, they've just been in a very tough group. And at the end of the day, if you do lose one or two games, even if it's by a small margin, you just do miss out. Like, if they were in Group A, I think they would have gone through. If they were in Group C, I think they would have gone through. But because they were a part of Group B, oh, sorry, I got that around the wrong way. I think they were in Group C rather than Group B. But yeah, I think they would have gone through. They just got beaten by better sides on the days. Matthew Gonzalez going through now for the Australian. Selwyn Davids, great driving tackle to shut him down. Visa has been told that he is not allowed to go through. I thought it was a final by the title of the video, playoff final. That's why I asked. Says coding, so it is a playoff game for 9th place. So that is what they call them in the sevens. Of course, the final itself is just the final, bronze final as well. Been rubbish for a while, isn't it? And not just this leg of the 7 series. Unfortunately, like, they have been taken down by some of the best sides on the circuit. Like, they beat the easier teams. No worries, but it's when they face the likes of Argentina, who are currently on a 13-match winning streak. Actually, their second longest in Argentinian Rugby Sevens history. Beautiful play here from the Australian side, linking up very nicely. Now pass on the outside. Dietrich Roach will go through, and Australia have now answered back with a try of their own. 4 minutes remaining in the first half. There is still plenty of this match to go, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, the next game that is around the corner, it will be the USA taking on Argentina. We are also going to be covering that one on the channel. USA, huge underdogs. Bit of a slip there from Roscoe Speckman. Even though we are up to day 3, sides are still struggling to be able to work out how to run and change direction efficiently on this AstroTurf. It is a lot different to grass. I believe next week in LA, they are back onto a grass pitch. So there might be a bit of an adjustment there as well. We should be one of the best sides. If we aren't, and then those players or coaching staff aren't worthy of those jerseys, says Ethan. I do feel bad for them, though, because, like, at the end of the day, they've got all the talent in their team to be able to do well. It's just sometimes you have form and sometimes you don't have form. That's kind of the situation with Sevens. Look at someone like a Samoa. They went from winning Cape Town. The next year they finished dead last. They are currently looking at getting relegated. And there will be a time in the future where they go back to being in the top 3 or 4 sides. It just, unfortunately, it can be a bit of a roller coaster with Sevens. Australia, perfect example in this league. They've gone from being runner-up twice in a row to now being in the situation of playing off for a 9th place medal rather than being in the top. Nice run from Nathan Lawson. He's almost gone straight through. And I missed the day. What happened in the quarters and the semis. So in the semis, they have not happened yet. Quarterfinals, we did see the winners France, New Zealand, USA and Argentina. Line break for Shilton van Wyk here. Australia giving up the possession. He's going to go himself. He'll win the foot race and he will score the try for South Africa. Scores it out wide. If he had really pinned his ears back, would have ended up possibly getting a bit closer to the post. Expect and demand high standards. Don't expect to win everything. But there is a base level. This is well below that. Whereas South Africa in the overall standings, they are sitting 5th at the moment. And the overall standings, which, to be honest, isn't that bad. Like, you look at some of the sides. Argentina, like I mentioned, they've won 13 games in a row. It's no wonder they're in 1st. Australia, after being runner-up twice, they are sitting in 3rd. Also Fiji, because they're consistently getting in the top 3 or 4. They have been able to get themselves up a bit higher. And then I think the other side up there is either New Zealand or Ireland. New Zealand would never take 5th. Says Ethan, I think they might be lower than 5th at the moment. That one has missed away to the side, so the score will remain 12 points to 7. Fiji won't be happy with 5th, says Ethan. And it there as well. And 9th place champions, worthy of a tattoo, says Cool Story Bro. A heap of emojis from Cheryl there as well. Welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. Now going to the left-hand side, Henry Patterson gives it back to Justin Gerdold. South Africa have taken this ball back. Selvin Davids. Going back away to the left-hand side, over the top. Ryan Oosthuizen down the wing. Oh, referee has fallen over. Even the refs haven't been able to get the hang of this type of turf. Now Rosto Spickman. Justin Gerdold. Gets it across to Selvin Davids. Goes through 3 defenders. Gets it away to David Benjamin Brits. And that was another one now for South Africa just before the end of the first half. What's the place of New Zealand? I believe New Zealand, because of what they did at the first start period of, tell you what, we'll get the rugby standings overall. New Zealand and the men are sitting 6th. Ireland 5th, South Africa 4th. Australia, Fiji, Argentina. That is the order. So, yeah, South Africa sitting in 4th. Not exactly the worst place to be. You said New Zealand wouldn't take 5th. At the moment, they would because they are sitting lower than 5th. They are in 6th place at the moment on the overall standings. Gerdold gets that kick over, so that will now make the score at halftime 19 points to 7. Got a bit of work early on from the Blitzboks. Deep breaths being taken for these two sides as well, looking to really push the pace in the second 7 minutes. I think that Australia maybe selection in the starting lineup hasn't quite worked out for them. They haven't had anywhere near enough possession. That is also down to the pressure that South Africa have been able to create in terms of their counter-attack. Saw that runaway try from Schutten van Beek, and also that last-minute try being scored by David Benjamin Brits off some brilliant work of Selvin Davids. Won't South Africa drop after this in the overall standings? It depends a little bit on how everyone else goes, because Fiji, who are sitting 2nd, they are going to be playing off for 5th place. And, I mean, there's only 2 points between them, so Fiji will keep their spot. Ireland, they are playing off for 5th as well, so there's a chance they might boost up a little bit, but we're only talking like 2 points difference there between Ireland and South Africa, which South Africa have more than enough capabilities of making up in the next leg. Luckily, we're only in the 4th leg of the competition, and there's still another 3 more to go. So, like, I don't think they'll drop too heavily. France and New Zealand both sitting a little bit lower, so the Kiwis might boost themselves up a bit, but that's the thing with sevens. You're going to have times when you're going extremely well, and you're going to have times where you are struggling, but all of the teams have it. Like Samoa, like I mentioned, they are in 9th at the moment. They went from being an almost automatic Olympic qualification last year to now really struggling. Fiji have not won a leg of the sevens in a record time. They have never had a drought like the Fijian sevens side have currently had, but because they're still consistent enough to get high up in the rankings, they still get some form of points each and every time. But it will be one of their lower finishes for a while in this one, the Fijians, with the chance of playing off for 5th place. But South Africa have got the kickoff from the Australians. And I hope South Africa wins this. Can't let those Aussies win, says Bruce. Now Australia have got the opportunity from the halfway line. And sevens are the equivalent to T20 in cricket. Smaller teams can win against big. Exactly right. Probably a little bit more unpredictable than the T20 as well, mainly because it's only that 14 minutes. We've seen Spain beat New Zealand. We've seen Canada beat, well, Canada's beaten a lot of sides. So, Eventing Hamish, we just expect better. We demand to be in the mix. Only comparing Fiji and New Zealand, not Australia, Argentina, Ireland, France. Maybe sevens is changing a bit. Not been keeping up to date, says Ethan. But that's the thing. Like, if South Africa win next week, they'll probably be in the top 3. And then if they win the week after that, right up to probably 2nd. So all it takes is one good week, and a bit of luck along the way in a game of sevens. That is actually one of the most crucial things that you need. Bit of luck, a bit of chemistry in the side, which South Africa are building. We've got to remember they've made quite a few changes. David Benjamin Brits, before this competition, hardly getting any game time. Justin Hurdold is expected to step up now because of the likes of Soyuz Wapi being out. Also not having DeWald Uman. Another player is missing for the South Africans. Nice run from David Benjamin Brits there again. MPV said they haven't got Christy Hrubler, who of course makes a huge impact for their side. Sullivan Davids with the grubber in mind. Looks like Nathan Lawson trying to win that foot race. And he's been able to do just that over the ball. Roscoe Speckman steals it. Hurdold doesn't get the offload away, but South Africa have really upped the tempo in the second half. Chip in behind. He's taken out by Clements, and that is going to be a yellow card for the Australian. This is not going to end, or not going to end well, I don't think, for the Aussies. And big loss this year, Miller Duplessis, JC Pretorius, trying 15's game now. Exactly right. So, you know, there's always going to be that rebuilding stage. We saw that for Fiji. They're currently still trying to find what their new combo is. The Samoans, they've lost Malani Matavao, Va'a Pilo Maliko, Paul Scanlon. The list goes on for them as well. And it's normally the sides such as Argentina who have had that consistency for this season so far that are reaping the rewards. Who's the one that said all the other teams have worked out South Africa's game plan? Says Nas Williams. Yeah, I'm not sure who that was, but like we said, Sevens is so unpredictable and so game by game you can change your tactic. Like South Africa do like a chip in behind, but you can't defend that because you got to rush up to try and stop them from getting the pass out wide. And yeah, remember Scanlon? What a spark. That's close to the line for Shilton van Veek. Back foot. I think they're good old Uman. No, it's going to be around the side of the breakdown. There is a penalty advantage against the Australians, and they could find themselves going to the bin once more. Cross kick here from Sullivan Davids. Ball sits up for Roscoe Speckman. And another try comes for the South Africans. And Scanlon's the man, says Nas Williams. I have a little bit of a feeling that this game to me seems like it's the Blitzboks trying to get some of their frustration out. Because they did do well in their group stage, beating New Zealand to then put them into a very good position to go on. But then they lost to Great Britain and they lost to Ireland. And then in their playoff game, I think they beat Canada, but they only just beat the Canadians. I think in that most recent fixture, we'll see the stat there. They did beat Canada 20 points to 14. But yeah, losing to Great Britain by 5 points. Losing to Ireland by 12, I think, was the one that hurt just that little bit more. Now they're trying to make sure that Australia lose this one by well and truly a large margin. See, they're the Canadian women's seven side starting to warm up. It was knocked on by Jimmy the Jet Turner. I have to say, sounds like one of the best nicknames that we've had on the seven circuit so far. Sanatla never should have left seven, says Cool Story Bro. Yeah, although, you know, sometimes we see, like, sometimes going to union works very well for a player and sometimes it just unfortunately doesn't. Like Sanatla, I think, has still done pretty well in union. It's just more of that question of, like, what would have happened if he had stayed in sevens for all that time. I mean, we've seen some of the returns of the older players, Roscoe Speckman being one. Jamon killing the sevens? Nah, not yet. He's only come off the bench. He scored the last try for France in the game up against Ireland in the quarterfinals, but it was a run into the short side, so anyone could have done that. I actually think that ever since Dupont got there, we've actually seen Stephen Perez-Martin step up drastically, and he's actually probably still the pick of the halfbacks for France. France 15's sticking the place out. I think the Boks stole their soul in the Rugby World Cup, although we were talking about it on the last one, and like that being the Six Nations live stream. And we came to the conclusion, I don't so much think it's the fact that South Africa beat them. Like, it's because they got beaten, but not because it was South Africa. At the end of the day, if you were to lose a game, you want to lose to the team that go on to win the whole thing. That's the only team that it seems acceptable to lose to. But it's more the fact that they were in front of a home crowd and their best chance ever to win a Rugby World Cup, and they weren't able to convert that. And alongside that, I think behind the scenes, Galtier isn't quite getting along with some of those players in that French squad, and there's a few problems starting to arise there. But yeah, it's not the fact that they lost to South Africa, it's the fact that they lost, is what the conclusion of it really is. And we have good there, good. Abok win this one, says Bruce Thomas. They should be able to. Only another 2 minutes remaining in the second half. Yeah, agreed. Not because it was us. And also, Ciabello is a good stormer, but the best sevens player I ever saw. Says, cool story, bro. I mean, JC Pretorius, he's probably an example of, for the Lions, don't get me wrong, his breakdown work is good, but he's only ever been considered as a guy to come off the bench for the Lions. And if he was playing for the Blitzboks, he'd be starting a majority of the games and getting to travel the world while doing it as well. So, you know, there could be a spot for him in sevens if he wants to return eventually. Maybe rugby union is the way that he wants to go forward. Or is Dupont that much of a difference for France 15's Dupont and Interback? I mean, Interback I think is going to be the helpful factor for them. Dupont, don't get me wrong, brilliant player. But even when they didn't have him at that World Cup, they actually played some very good rugby. I think the fact that they don't have Baptiste Kuyu at the moment, that is hurting them because Luku just isn't quite getting the job done. They're actually giving Lee Gaddick the chance off the bench a majority of the times. Big man at the moment for the Aussies, Henry Patterson. A charge forward. Australia only scoring the one try throughout this game. 24 points to 7, actually very similar to a score that they have had earlier on. And this leg of the Sevens cleaned up at the back for the South Africans now. Let their belly. Penalty goes against Australia again in the breakdown. Going to be using up just that little bit more time on the clock. He's disappointed. Malufi's just looked up and realised that they don't have enough time to get back into this game. Has to be frustrating for the Aussie captain travelling the world, playing and training footy. That's a pretty full lifestyle, or the females, lol, says Nazi Williams. A Northern Hemisphere team touring New Zealand in July. No, South Africa have Ireland. I know that New Zealand have England as their tour. I don't know if New Zealand are going north or if England are coming south, though. It might be England south, if I'm correct. Now, line out, 10 seconds remain. Not a huge amount of time, but the Blitzboks could still score themselves one more. In fact, it's going to be stolen by the Australians, so now they have got their last chance. Here, the full-time siren. Big shot coming in from Lete Bele. It's going to be another penalty in favour of the Australians. Henry Hutchinson shut down well by Sean Williams. Right, should be a comfortable one for New Zealand, really. But interesting new coaching systems. Says Ethan, yeah, new coaching system, new group of players that are available. Just talking about for the Australians not having Maurice Longbottom and what kind of impact that has had on the way that they have played. And got a ref estimate of next game times, mate. Rained off today, says Naz Williams. So the next game that we are covering, one moment, I'll find it here, is actually the semi-final between Argentina and USA. That is at 9:43 a.m. New Zealand time. Then New Zealand versus France is at 10:05, followed by Samoa, Great Britain at 11:04, and then 11:48 as Fiji versus Ireland. South Africa have managed to take that ball back after a little bit more attack from the Australians. Didn't really lead to anything, just on their own 22 now. Now Tristan Lades puts the grubber in behind, and Hutchison has to run it dead, and that will be the end of this game. 24 points to 7 the win for South Africa. But that'll be the end of this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Our next one is in just under an hour's time. That will be the matchup taking place between Argentina and the USA. How's Argentina Sevens tearing it up this year? Are they that much better? Previous, they were going more for a physical approach. I think that they've just got a really, really strong group of players at the moment. They've got the speed factor of Marcos Maneta, the strength of some of those bigger players like Germain Schultz, Luciano Gonzalez, a good mixture of both. Palandini's come into his own recently, and you've also got that experience factor of the likes of Gaston Ravol and also Azutsuk, just to add that little bit more to this Argentinian team. But they're a very, very well put together side in terms of the speed and the factors that do go into a game of sevens, plus that unpredictability. No one really knows what they're going to do. Even they probably don't leading into the match. But yeah, next match coming just around the corner, ladies and gents. So we'll see you all for the next one.